Iqbal Mohamed.
Thank you, Mr. Dow. It's a pleasure to serve under your chairship. I am also an animal lover, and that is really important to put on the record. I think everybody in this room would be happy to be described as animal lovers. But we are omnivores, and we do eat, some of us, eat meat. For me, as a Muslim, I will only eat meat that has undergone slaughter through the traditional Islamic halal method. The rhetoric around non-stun slaughter and how this debate is being framed in Parliament today is deeply concerning. Not just me, but to other members, organisations, and many of my constituents. Yes, I care about animal welfare. That's the supposed topic here, but I'm equally disturbed by the undertone. A title dressed as a welfare concern, but sounding like a dog whistle for xenophobia, targeting religious practices, particularly Jewish and Muslim communities. These are long-standing practices, already regulated by clear legislation. Previous governments have ensured safeguards are in place to protect animal welfare during religious slaughter. So why are we having this conversation again, if not to stigmatise kosher and halal traditions? The claim in the petition that non-stun slaughter doesn't reflect our culture or modern values is not just inaccurate, it's worryingly exclusionary and divisive. It shows a lack of understanding of why these practices exist and how they are monitored. Let's make this conversation what it should be, one of learning and inclusion. As my right honourable member said earlier, many may not realise that both halal and kosher slaughter practices are centred around minimising suffering. They require the animal to be alive and healthy at the time of slaughter. Animals must not be shown the implement with which they will be slaughtered. Animals should not be in the presence of other animals being slaughtered. If this is not humane, I don't know what is. A sharp knife is used to make a swift incision, cutting key arteries and windpipe, but not the spinal cord, causing rapid unconsciousness and minimal pain. Evidence shows that when done properly, and the key here is done properly. I'm a proponent of halal and kosher slaughter done in the proper way. When done properly, kosher and halal methods can be as, if not more humane, as stunned slaughter. Yeah. In fact, if we flip the narrative, mistakes in stunning can cause suffering, if not well managed, and expose animals to bad welfare in pre-slaughter handling or cause pain and fear. We've heard how halal and kosher slaughter is performed. The UK, the main methods used to stun an animal before slaughter include penetrating captive bolts. This is used on cattle, sheep, and some pigs. A gun fires a metal bolt through the skull into the brain, causing unconsciousness after excruciating pain. Electrical stunning used on sheep, calves, and pigs. An electrical current is passed through the brain, temporarily rendering the animal unconscious, but not always. Chickens are often stunned before slaughter using an electrical water bath, which involves shackling the birds upside down and passing them through a bath of electrified water. Does that sound humane to anybody in this room? Because it doesn't sound humane to me. And we've already heard about gas stunning and killing, primarily used for pigs and some poultry. Animals are exposed to gas mixtures such as carbon dioxide, which cause unconsciousness and eventually death. Each of these stunning methods can lead to the death of the animal, and the eating of a dead animal by Jewish and Muslim believers is not permissible. So this is not a simple stun good, not stun bad issue. It's far more complex and should be centred around good and well-monitored practice. Assuming there's only one ethical way to slaughter an animal is not science, it's imposition. and it doesn't reflect the values of a pluralistic society. To claim these practices are outside of our culture is a dangerous path, one that risks vilifying communities under the guise of animal welfare. If we're talking about welfare, let's talk about factory farming. Are the concerns being raised about the same industry which still allows animals to live in cages, be mass-culled and suffer through profit-driven systems from birth to death? Despite the UK Animal Welfare Act of 2006 and subsequent legislation, certain intensive farming practices are still legal and widely used. One, enriched cages for hens. Although barren battery cages were banned in 2012, around 28% of UK laying hens are still kept in enriched cages which severely restrict natural behaviours. Farrowing crates for sows, these crates prevent mother pigs from turning around or interacting properly with their piglets.
Will the member give way?
I will give way.
I'm grateful to the honourable member putting forward his case passionately. Will the member agree that this isn't about animal welfare? We once saw Nazi Germany put forward into place, into law, similar policies. The justification then was to animal welfare, but in context, this was a thin pretext for anti-Semitism. The ban was part of a broader programme to marginalise and dehumanise Jewish people, stripping away their rights and religious freedoms. Will the member agree that a ban on this nature threatens to have similar effect on Britain's Muslim and Jewish communities?
I thank the honourable member for his intervention. We must drive our society from this place to move away from divisive rhetoric and hurtful behaviours, racism, anti-Semitism and Islamophobia. And any such attempts that bring these to the fore should be challenged and communities should be protected. So just to conclude, Mr. Chair, the other practice that's allowed is individual calf pens. Young calves can be kept in isolation for weeks, which can cause stress and developmental issues. These practices are legal under current UK law, but are increasingly seen as inhumane by animal welfare advocates. I want to take this opportunity to raise that many of my constituents in Dewsbury and Batley have written to me in support of the RSPCA's campaign to end cages that restrict animals' movements for life. Why aren't we debating that? These aren't questions of belief. These are clear, systemic welfare violations, undisputed and urgent. Yet here we are, instead, scrutinising faith-based practices rooted in ethics and compassion. This debate must not become a platform to demonise or criminalise. If we truly care about welfare, we must look at the bigger picture. Intensive farming, mass culling, corporate cruelty, the prevalence of illegal fox hunting, and the importing and selling of fur products, which is still permitted. That's where the real meaningful change lies.
Here, here.